Hi, I'm the gardener Ben, and welcome along to my garden. A third of an acre of English cottage garden surrounding a 324-year-old thatch just on the outskirts of the New Forest in Hampshire, halfway between Ringwood and Salisbury. The garden's made up of lots of little areas broken down into sections. This is our little spring lawn. Most of the garden is heavily planted with my rose collection, companion planted heavily with an awful lot of cottage garden favourites and herbaceous perennial plants. This is our beautiful little wildflower meadow, laid around 4 years ago. It's a really quiet and tranquil place which is completely left alone, exclusively for pollinators. This was underplanted with several hundred bulbs over the last few years and is an absolute joy during the summer months. Dotted all around the garden you'll find lots of recycled and reused materials, like everything that made up this huge bug hotel. Our reclaimed bubble pool, which a customer asked me to take away and throw in a skip. Strange bits and pieces dug up from the garden from yesteryear. And running around the north and the east side of the cottage is what we refer to as our donut border, and an ever so slightly raised herbaceous border encircling our bedroom, bathroom windows, all the way through to our Italian sunk patio, really heavily planted with herbaceous perennials and roses. Over the summer months, this literally towers up to the eaves of the cottage, meaning we are completely buried in plants. Completed our Italian terrace last year, bringing in the 8-foot by 4-foot huge water tank, which now sports its monolith stone. This area is comprised of nearly 7 tonnes of locally sourced Portland stone. It required the extraction of around 50 tonnes of soil. Some areas are still under construction, and the garden is continuously evolving and changing. I tend to use lots of recycled containers and salvaged items, like this beautiful French galvanised bath, this lovely old salvaged dolly tub. I think it's important to include lots of natural habitat in the garden, so the garden contains lots of areas like this with large amounts of decomposing wood. Other stranger reused items like this old boat used as an elevated pond. Tucked behind the garage you'll find the more industrial and commercial areas of the garden. The vegetable and cutting patch that houses my collection of dahlias, my outdoor potting bench where I create an awful lot of the media you see online. Once again, all made up from reclaimed and reused recycled materials which were found here. One of the largest features of our garden is this really quite large and impressive weeping willow tree, which every single year I have to knuckle back to keep in bounds with our insurance company. Along our eastern boundary runs what I call the long border, a huge herbaceous border around 2 to 2.5 metres deep and some 35 metres long. Many parts of the garden, like this area here, only planted around a year and a half ago now. I really love this double-sided border that runs all the way around the east side of the cottage, with that little donuts path running around the actual cottage itself. Being able to view this border from both sides is an absolute pleasure, meaning everything could be jumbled up. It's all different heights and different sizes, shrubs and roses underplanted with large amounts of herbaceous perennials. One of the largest plants brought with us from our last cottage. Around 650 plants were dug up and brought here to this particular garden, including this beautiful cherry which I planted for my husband Mark, as well as a fairly substantial selection of roses. I also have a fair amount of peonies dotted around the garden. Being a Taurian, my birthday is in May, and I receive one each and every year from my husband as a birthday present. I really hope that you've enjoyed your walk around the North Lodge Cottage garden, and I look forward to welcoming you to the garden again soon. Take care now, bye bye.